Hey guys, and welcome to Fantasy HQ. Another week of fantasy football. How exciting! Let's do introductions. To your left, you got Red from Merman's FG. To your right, Mitch from Mitch's Lads FG. And in the middle, Alex from Goose FG. Big week of fantasy scores. We had two of the gurus hit 1,000 points this week, but we'll tell you who gets that at the end of the episode if Red didn't give it away already. But we all had some big points. Sorry to anyone who had Farah this week.
Yeah, it's tough.
Bit of bad luck. I'm sure most of you had him as captain as well.
Yeah,
But some monster efforts by DC, continuing red hot form. Fafita getting over his injury scare and killing it.
Yeah.
So good job if you kept him around. Bateman showing ways a cult hero in Canberra.
Yeah.
John Bateman's Bay. It's a thing. It's going to happen.
I'd go there.
It's got to happen. I would go there.
I'd go there.
Holiday destination for sure.
Mad Monday, boys.
Oh, imagine Mad Monday. Yeah.
We're definitely going to be celebrating that after this show. But the main man, the guru player of the week, the man of the moment, who was it, Mitch?
There's no other, mate. It's Mitch Moses.
I know you've been proud of this one, didn't you?
Oh, mate.
You're repping the shirt harder than ever.
He was in fine form. You know, with one try essay, one line break, 2 line break assists, 3 tackle breaks, 3 try assists, 13 tackles, 133 run meters, 286 kick meters, 1 field goal, and everyone in Parramatta loves him.
He's becoming a cult hero, just like Bateman.
Mate, you could tell Parramatta won a game. There was that many jerseys out today. Holy shit. They were everywhere.
We've won 4, Red. We've won 4.
When you lose, they disappear. But
Yeah.
anyway.
Nowhere to be seen.
But yes, great effort there by Mitchell Moses this week. I told you to bring him in 2 weeks ago. Good job if you did. All right, let's move on to everybody's favorite segment.
Wall Street. Yeah. So Wall Street, where we talk buys, sells, and either buy beware or pump the brakes. I did do a change up last week, and the boys weren't too happy about me changing up them, so we'll stick with the very standard form, and we'll talk about buys to begin with. Herms, who are you buying?
Well, I'm going with an obvious one, but sometimes you have to. You went with Haas last week, and if you didn't bring him in, silly. Should have done it. So I'm going with another obvious choice. I'm going with Bronson Jerry. Minus 11 break even. Still very cheap. Absolute cash cow. I think with the form he's been in, he didn't really impress me the first 2 weeks. He was looking a bit like Dugan 2.0, but with the game he had last week and the speed he's showing, I think he's doing enough to hold that spot in a few weeks when Moylan does come back. If he averages 30 over the next 3 weeks, he'll make another 100k at least, which I think is pretty standard. Plus, with Nakora out for a week with suspension, you want someone to fill in that centre spot potentially if you don't want to put Bateman there. So, Jerry, buy the league for me. Nothing to add to that. Okay.
Wow, Mitch, to keep him quiet. Stop it. All right, Mitch. Well, while you're on a quiet run, let's hear what you got to say about buys.
I think, and I'm kicking myself I didn't bring him in at the start of the year, Lachlan Burr. I thought he was only going to be a 1 or 2 week wonder. Started off the season at 228,000, is now up to 514. His minutes increasing, his base stats increasing. He's got a break even this week of 0. And I don't see him losing that spot anytime soon. So I see, obviously a lot of upside there. A good consistent scorer. Gonna make you money.
Yeah, Lachlan Burr has surprised a lot of us. His points have just gotten bigger and bigger. I actually sold him a couple of weeks ago and immediately regretted it. Some 60 plus points coming out of him. He's an effort machine.
Yeah.
He doesn't do a lot of anything else other than tackling,
No.
but he runs the ball hard and he tackles a shitload. So he's been fantastic.
Well, yeah, I've had him from the start, but I was keeping him away interchange for a very long time, but now he's earned my trust. He's made his way into that starting lineup, so yes, great buy. I think he's at mid-range options now, so before he gets too expensive, he keeps his form going.
Yeah,
Bring him in.
You say earn your trust. Well, like he made you look like a mug for a couple of weeks when you
Yeah.
didn't use him.
Bit of bands among us, yeah. Embarrassing.
Oh well. I'm going to hit you guys with my buy. I've gone with Tyrone Roberts. I like to be a little bit left field, and I kind of got a bit of a shock face from these two. But Tyrone Roberts has a break even of -2, and here's why. He scored 57 and 66 in the last 2 weeks. He's going to play in round 12, which is an important factor. But Ash Taylor has been the biggest passenger I think I've ever seen in a game than what he was last week. Oh my god, he didn't. I think he touched the ball like 2 times in the second half, and he orchestrated everything that they did. He was everywhere. He was magnificent. And if Ash Taylor's going to keep playing like that, I wouldn't even play him on the field if I was Garth Brennan. So Tyrone Roberts looks like the guy that everyone's following, and I think he's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger points.
Yeah, well, at the moment, I think Ash Taylor, I think they brought him back a bit early because I was struggling at the start of the year. So I think he's still carrying a bit of a niggle there. But yeah, obviously he's a very dynamic player. We all know what Roberts can do. So yeah, I'd see him being that mid-40 consistently each week. So yeah, not a bad little scorer.
It's only at 442.
Which is a good mid-range half. And especially when you think those mid-range halves at the start of the season, they're pretty much getting into keeper and too expensive territory. Players like Moses, Morgan, they're getting a bit too expensive now. So if you want that little bit of a cheaper option, and last 2 weeks, if anything's to go by, could be a great bring-in.
And maybe if you missed out on those other mid-range halves, maybe too late on the bus, and now you can jump on another one. So we're going to move on now. Now we've had our buys, we're going to talk sells. Mitchell, who's your sell, mate?
Martin Tapia.
I need to pay.
Yeah. I started the year with him, and I luckily only lost about 40,000 on him. Because he's dropped over $100,000 from his starting price at the start of the year. His average is down about 8 points from last year. His minutes are down nearly 10 from last year.
Wow.
And he's just obviously he's not getting the same workload. You're not getting the same results out of him. And I just think he should have had massive minutes in a big game. Like they took the Dragons pack on. You need your best forward. And they're down for Noah Blake. And he still only played 45 minutes.
What's Jez doing?
So I think, I think it's time to bite the bullet and get the power out. Obviously, he does play round 12, but you potentially could hold on to him and miss getting extra points now to save getting a couple of extra points in round 12.
Or lose more money.
Yeah.
So a couple of things with that. I don't know what Dez is doing with him. Fanua Blake is proving he's the guy once he comes back from suspension. So
He's brilliant.
He's been fantastic. You'd think, the Manly pack is pretty slim, so you'd think he'd be getting bulk minutes. He's an impact player, so he is capable of getting those huge scores when he wants to, but he just doesn't show that desire anymore. The Manly pack, I don't know if he's content there, but yes, I think better now than never for Big Marty.
Yeah, definitely. I am flabbergasted that he doesn't get more minutes. And you can tell, I think, just from watching him play, he doesn't have that desire, that burn that he used to have. Like, he used to love getting an offload out, putting the hand out in someone's face. He doesn't do it anymore. It's lackluster. It's just doing the job now. Just running forward.
And that might be what Desi wants him to do, tone the things back like your break tackles. Because he did have an error with him when he was obviously going for the offloads or, going as hard as he could to try and get out of a tackle instead of getting that quick play the ball. So maybe they've tried to tell him to tone it back.
No, he was in that same grain as Fafita. It was him and Fafita last year as the two big guys, and they had the great game, the offload, the tackle bust. But yeah, he's really dropped off. So yeah, good sell.
Good sell. Herms, who are you selling?
Luke Keary, I think.
Oh, quick on to that one.
What? Yeah, he's owned by nearly 10% of people still. He leads the league in try assists, and he actually is quite up there in terms of potentially playing Origin. So,
I think he will be in Origin.
I think he deserves it. But fantasy-wise, I'm not too sold on him. He had HIA last week, so didn't play the full 80. He's not playing this week, so I think now's the time to sell him. He's still reasonably priced at 564k. He had one monster score this year, and I think that's sort of raised his average. But he's got this break even of 58 next time he plays in 2 weeks, and I just think there's better options out there in the halves. And by now you should have a bit of money spare in the kitty to upgrade to some of these absolute monster players like DCE and such like that. So I think for now, get rid of him. 10% of teams, he's missing a week anyway. Now's the time.
Ballsy. It's ballsy.
It's not like you to make a call. You usually just sit on the fence and take the cop out.
Not here to fuck spiders, Mitch. Not here to fuck spiders.
For a guy who is leading the league in try assists, to want to sell him, it's a big call. I think your points are very valid. I think there are better halves out there
in one game, which contributed to his monster score.
Yeah.
He's not doing that every week. I just think.
Now Kronk's back as well, so he was carrying the workload when Kronk was gone.
He was, yeah.
Yeah. And I think if you've got Kirian, not DC, I think it's the perfect haul. If you don't have DC at all, you've got to get him in there some way, somehow. He's the best average scorer in the league right now. So if you can get rid of someone else and Kirian and bring in DCE, do it. Do it.
Do it now.
Do it now. Alrighty, fellas, my sell. Not quite a big outlandish one like Herms here.
Or Mitch.
Or Mitch, alright. Just like calling you out though. I've gone with Ravalawa from the Dragons. Now, bit of a cheapie, and some people may not think that he's worth selling, but I just don't see this dude getting any more money. Like, he's at 334,000. And he scored 4 tries in the last 4 games. And let me read you his scores. 35, 34, 26, and 20.
With tries.
That's a try in every single game. Last week, he was on, I think, 9. And got a try, like, at the death. Like, this guy is owned by 36.9% of teams. That's the 4th most out of every player. He needs to be sold and bring in anyone else. Anyone else. They cannot do any worse.
Dude.
Anyone else. If you're paying that much for Duke and you're a fool, I'll wait, the Sharks. Yeah, like there could be anyone else. He's averaging only 27 points. There's got to be better players out there. And he doesn't even play round 12, he plays round 16. So second round of the buys. So he's just not worth it anymore. Just get rid of him.
No, I agree. Like, he's huge percentage of teams. There's certain guys that you thought were cash cows, but they're pretty much peaked right now. So Ravalawa is definitely one of them. Most. I thought Sivo was done, and he got another boost. So anyway,
He lives for another week.
he lives for another week.
Yeah, I think pretty much spot on there. Ravalawa's made his money. He's made what, 80, 90 grand or whatever he's made, but I don't see him getting much better than that.
And eventually Lomax has to come in and
They need a goal
kicking
kicker,
duties.
yeah.
For God's sake, that was atrocious.
And Dragons prefer the left side anyway. Things for the attack anyway.
Yeah, they don't even go near him, so I don't know. Alright, cool. So that was sells. Now we're going to do the hybrid pump the brakes / buyer beware. Mitch, wanted to get your way with sipping a beer. Who you got, mate?
I'm gonna go. I actually feel bad for people that had Robbie Farah, but for the rest of us, I'm loving it. I am loving it. Unfortunately, Farah started the week at 915,000.
Unattainable.
He's after, unfortunately, that one bad week. He's down 843.
He dropped a lot.
He's got a break even this week of 95. So even if he scores 60 points this week, he stands to lose another $40,000. And if you have Farah, please keep Farah. He's a genuine captain choice. He's a genuine scorer every single week. If you want Farah, wait a week, wait 2 weeks, and that's the cheapest you're going to get him.
You might even see him in that 700 territory. You just got to snap him up. Because he's definitely gonna. He's definitely a keeper for the season. But yeah.
So that's my pump the brakes. Just if you got him, hold him. There's no point selling him. He's still going to get you good scores. If you want him, wait a week or 2, then bring him in.
Definitely keep him in under your eye. You got to be looking at where he's going over the next few weeks. Because if you can snap him up at a pretty decent price, that's a steal.
He's up there with DCE this season. They were pretty much level pegging, and fortunately, then Farah obviously only got 8 or 9 points.
Yeah. And he's been in career form this year.
Yeah.
He's looked fantastic. The try assists have gone down a bit, but the effort's still there. The tackles are
100%.
still there.
Look what happens to the Tigers when he goes off the field.
Yeah.
He got 50 points more than you. So
I don't think even Great Farah could have stopped that yesterday.
perfect example of pump the brakes. Mitch.
Agreed. Herms?
I mentioned him briefly before, but Nakora, pump the brakes. People are bringing him out of your team. I don't know why. He's suspended for 1 week. He's proved that he's a keeper. He's proved that he's a gun. His average for the season is 58. He's still, not even worth that much to bother selling. His break even's 18, so he's still going to make money.
Still got a lot of money to make.
And I just think there's no point selling him. Keep him for the rest of the season. He's still DPP. You can still play him in the centres. I love it.
Yeah.
No bias. I think he's the best.
Only time I'd consider getting rid of Nakora is when Graham's back and they decide who to put to the bench, Capewell or Nakora.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he goes to the bench, fair enough, get rid of him.
Yep.
But until then, it's 1 week.
Yeah.
Everyone should have enough cover for that 1 week.
Yeah. You should have enough players somewhere in there. And with the dual position, with the amount of good people that you can flip around, you should not need to trade him out at all.
No.
So hold off, folks. Hold off. Pump the brakes.
Pump the brakes.
Agreed. Very much agreed. Well, I'm not going to pump the brakes. I'm going to buyer beware. And I'm going another Titan. There's been a bit of thing where Herms doesn't like people doing double team players, but we're going to do it anyway.
Seems like we're doing Titans.
Titans are the dream team, mate.
Titans have some really good and some really bad players. They're the definition of rocks and diamonds.
And injuries and suspensions.
Exactly.
Every week there's something going on there.
There is something going on at the Titans, no matter what week. So I'm going to hit Jared Wallace. Now this man got a doozy of a try and had 10 tackle busts last week. So don't get all excited about a forward who can do that, because that doesn't happen every week.
Not for him, anyway.
Especially when he only made 14 tackles and his average is still 41, even with that big score. So at 548k, not a lot of great FRFs out there, so the front row forwards, but there's definitely better options. Do not go just yet. Beware.
As well as that, I'd be assuming that he goes back to play for Queensland as well, so he won't be there for round 12.
Well, it's a possibility. You know, he does play round 12, but it's a possibility. They look like they're going to shake up a lot. They did not like Louisville.
He's just not the same player he was, fantasy player he was a few
No.
years ago.
Well,
Before
yeah.
Jairo got to the team, he was the guy. But
He
he's
was,
just not that good.
2 years ago, he was the cash cow everyone had.
Yeah.
If you didn't have him, you were a fool 2 years ago.
Yeah, but he's definitely dropped off. So buyer beware. Don't go getting all excited because he had one good week. And that wraps up.
I don't know, how'd you come up with this? I noticed it last week.
Oh, you noticed it last week?
Yeah.
I was like, and that wraps up Wall Street.
So maybe it was slogan for it too. Well, thank you, Red, for wrapping up Wall Street. We move on to our injury report. A few injuries this week, Mitch. Should we go?
Not as many as last week, to be honest. But there are some obviously sad ones in there. Ryan James,
Titans again.
Titans again. He's unfortunately gone for the season. Did his ACL, so he's looking at 6 to 9 months. David Fussatua looks like he's got a rib issue. It looks like he might only miss a week. Dean Ware looks like he's gone for 2 to 4 weeks. Fatala Mariner got hurt playing New South Wales Cup. He's out for 6 weeks. Obviously Nakora suspended for a week. Luke Keary looks like he'll miss a week. There's a couple I follow your late mail about. Adam Elliott's in a bit of doubt. Tuivasa Sheck.
Not RTS, he's been gold.
Ferguson. And it could be an early comeback. So you have to follow this one.
I've heard about this.
Jason Tamalolo might be
Oh.
coming back a few weeks
Exciting.
early. So, potentially could be a good bring-in.
Yeah, could be a good bring in. And RTS, beware for all you guys who have brought him in too.
At least you'll know quite early on RTS. So.
Yeah.
Just on Jason Tamalolo, he's got a huge break even. So even if he does play, I'd assume limited minutes,
Yeah.
much lower score,
Just like that.
much lower price. Imagine getting a double, bringing those two in
Ooh,
under 2 weeks.
Woohoo! Amazing.
That'd be a good week.
Mama.
And that wraps up everything, guys. Thanks, like always, for watching, supporting us. It's been great. We love making these videos for you. We'll pop up our scores. But we're all climbing the ranks. The gurus are climbing, and we're coming for you, #1 spot. So we'll see you soon. And Mitch, what can they do? Like always,
They can like, subscribe, comment. We love the feedback. We love the questions. So keep them coming.
Speaking of the questions, I think there's been a few questions to us about doing a second video.
There has
Now
been
I
a
think
lot.
what we want is a bit more feedback on it. We've had a couple of people, not a lot, we've had a few people asking us to do second videos. Now, you wish, mate. If you guys want more videos from us, maybe different segments, throw us suggestions.
Yeah.
On Insta, we don't mind. Well, the boys are normally all over it. I'm a bit lackluster with it, but the boys are normally all over Insta. They're usually straight on the questions. So hit us up with anything. We'll hit you back as soon as we can, but definitely give us suggestions. We're loving it.
Yeah.
Keep them coming.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Subscribe.